So what do they call you?
They call me chamuco.
What are you incarcerated for, and how long is your sentence?
I'm incarcerated for attempted murder, and my sentence, it was 59 years, but in 2014, I won on my appeal, and they took off 27 years, so my sentence ended up being 32 years to life.
Where are you from out here on the
This call
street?
and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Where are you from out here on the streets?
I grew up in two places, LA, the boxing gym, Resurrection in East LA, and Fontana, over there in San Bernardino County. So I'll spend half my time in LA and half my time in San Bernardino or Fontana.
You know, I want to go ahead and say thank you, man, for allowing us the opportunity to share your story. I know it is one interesting story. From my understanding, you were part of the Olympic boxing team. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, I was part of the Olympic boxing team year 2000. Had a long boxing career. Started when I was 6 years old and ended up making the Olympic team in 2000 and then getting in trouble and actually ruining my career and ended up in prison with a big sentence, you know, but
what got you into boxing?
Life happened.
What got you into boxing, man?
Oh, my mom and my brother, Frankie Carmona. My brother Frankie, he was a boxer first. You know, him and my grandpa Enrique Gutierrez from East LA. So they used to go to the boxing gym every day. And then my mom used to go see my brother, and then they just put me in there, and I fell in love with it. Fell in love with boxing. Fell in love with the gym. You know, the fighting, the punching, and I never stopped until I ended up in here. But my mother's the one who got us into boxing. She loved it, and she took me to the gym every day, man. We drove an hour every day from Fontana to East LA, and there was traffic and everything. But you know, I would fall asleep on the way there. But she's the one who put me in there and got me started in the boxing game.
No, but obviously it was worth it. You know, obviously you became one hell of a boxer, even made it to the Olympics, man. Can you tell me what that experience was like, man? How were you selected? What is that whole process like, man?
Oh, you have to, okay, so in order to make the team, you have to beat everybody in the nation. So they have 8 ways to have a spot on the Olympic trials. So you have the Golden Gloves, the U.S. Nationals, the Eastern Western Conference, the National Pals, and then you got the U.S. Army, and then the Marines. They have the spot. And there's 2 other spots I can't think of, but there's 8 spots. And then you, once you win those tournaments, you get put in these 8 spots for Olympic trials. And then in the Olympic trials, you have to win everybody in the Olympic trials. So whoever wins everybody stays number 1. And then they have a losers bracket. So once you beat everybody, everybody that you beat go to a losers bracket, and then they face off. And then the winner out of the losers bracket, you fight them again in the Olympic box house. And you have to beat them 1 time, and they have to beat you 2 times. So, you know, I went to Olympic trials. It was in Florida. I beat everybody. And then they sent us, I think it was about 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, we left from Florida. We went back to Connecticut, out at the Foxwoods for the Olympic box house. And I beat David Jackson there. So I had to just beat him once. So he had to beat me twice in order to make a spot, and I had to beat him once. So I beat him once, and I became the 2000 Olympian. and 132 pounds.
Wow, man. How did that feel? How did that feel, man? To get all that recognition, know
Oh, it
that
was
all that hard
amazing.
work paid off.
It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, but I knew I worked hard. You know, I would spend many, many months and years in the De La Hoya camp in Big Bear. I mean, we were up there every time Oscar was getting ready for a fight. We were always up there with Coach Manuel Montiel. So Manuel Montiel, he basically made Oscar De La Hoya an Olympian in the 132 pounds in 92. And 8 years later, he made me an Olympian in 132 pounds. From the same gym, same coach, same everything. It's just like, it was crazy. I'm like, what the hell? So, you know, for Manuel to make two Olympians out of the same gym, from the same little box of boxers, I mean, that was like, wow. For him, for me, for everybody, you know. And it was just a crazy experience, you know. So I got to enjoy that. But yeah, it was unbelievable at first, man. I was just on cloud nine. My mom was on cloud nine. My whole family. We had high hopes, and things happen. You know, life happens, and life will change on you in the blink of an eye, man. It's how life works.
Did you make money from the boxing?
Yeah, I signed a contract with Bob Arum. What happened? I was supposed to sign a contract with Oscar De La Hoya. So what happened? Oscar De La Hoya was already starting off his promotion, was Golden Boy Promotions, and me, my mom, Coach Manuel, and my grandpa Enrique, we went to the De La Hoya Golden Gloves. I mean, a Golden Boy office in downtown LA. So we went up there and talked to Eric Gomez. I don't know if you know Eric Gomez and Oscar De La Hoya. So Eric Gomez is like the matchmaker slash kind of like runs Golden Boy now. So back then, Golden Boy was just starting. So they called us into a building, you know, and I just made the Olympic team. You know, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to get some money from Oscar so I could sign to Golden Boy. But when we got up there, this guy had Eric Gomez talk to him, and Eric Gomez said, look, we're not going to give you no money, but we're going to make you the face of Golden Boy. And I'm like, I don't want to be the face of Golden Boy. You know, I worked hard to buy a house or buy something for my family. And not only that, my cousin Steven Loevano, we worked out together all our lives. So, you know, he didn't want to give Steven nothing either. So I was like, nah. So I left there, and I ended up talking to Bob Arum, Top Rank, and he ended up giving me, you know, $50,000, $5,000 a month, and he gave my cousin Steven $50,000, $3,000 a month. So I went ahead and signed with Bob Arum because he was going to give my cousin money too. Because my cousin, you know, like I said, we've been doing this since we were little kids. You know, traveling, running, going all over the place. I mean, from airports to airplanes to different countries, different states, just competing. And for him not wanting to give him no money, I was like, nah, I'm not going to sign with Golden Boy. And we just signed with Bob Arum.
So obviously, man,
This
there was
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
so obviously, man, there was huge potential in your future. What happened, man? Where did things start to go south? Who did you meet? How did you start getting into trouble?
Oh, various things. When you make the team, you have a lot of big people come up to you. It's like big people from the good side and big people from the bad side. You know, being around family that grew up in gangs and you know, the the bigger part of them, they find you, and I had some really big people go to my fights. I don't want to say their names, but there was really powerful people, that were in the drug game, and I ended up getting caught with Ricardo Williams from Cincinnati, Ohio. We started moving kilos from California to Cincinnati, Ohio. So I don't know what happened with Rick. I don't know what happened with him and his promoter, but me and my promoter, I got into it with him because he wasn't putting me on the right cards. He wasn't putting me on the right boxing cards. He was moving me off cards. So I just told him, man, man, I'm done. I'm not going to fight for you because remember, Oscar De La Hoya was his golden ticket at that time. So for me, he was just putting me off to the side, and Oscar wasn't letting me fight under his cards. I went to a fight. I was in my dressing room, man, in my dressing room with my shorts on and everything. I was fighting under Oscar De La Hoya, Felix Stern. I think his name was Felix Stern or something like that. Do you remember that guy?
No.
It was at the MGM Grand, and it was Oscar De La Hoya, the main event. I was supposed to be in the undercard, and I'm on my way to the dressing room, and Bob Arum tells me, you know what? You're not going to fight on this card. We want you to go to New Orleans. I'm like, what? Hell no. So from that day, I told Top Rank, man, fuck, I'm not going to fight for you guys no more. And then I started pushing kilos over. So I got a hold of my boy out there in Cincinnati, Ohio. We clicked up, and then we started flipping the birds, to make money because, they were cutting off my money now because my contract with Top Rank wasn't going through. So, I ended up catching a Fed case on that, and I went and did some time. Ricardo did some time. We all did some time, and I got back out, and I signed another contract with Gary.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Gary Shaw was a really big promoter. He promoted Fernando Vargas, Mike Tyson. He promoted some big names. So me and Gary Shaw, we linked up with a manager named Mike Corsillo out of Connecticut. So Mike Corsillo gave me a signing bonus. He gave me $25,000, $2,000 a month. He had me on a fighting card, and Mike Corsillo he's a really good dude, man. And he had balls, man. He wanted me to fight. He wanted me to fight. He was putting me in there with people, and I like that. So I like what Mike was doing. I wish I would have signed with him before, my first contract. It would have been way better. I would have been way better out because Bob Arum wasn't letting me shine because Oscar De La Hoya wasn't allowed. Yeah, so me and Bob Arum, we had a small argument. I told him off, and I told him I'm not going to fight with him anymore. I asked him for my release, and he wouldn't release me. So I had to go some money. I had a daughter. I had two daughters at the time. I had a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And I had to go make money. So, I had bills. I had 4 cars I had to pay for. I had 4 luxury cars and insurance, and I had so many bills, so I had to go make the same kind of money I was making in boxing, but there was no other way to do it besides selling drugs. And that's how I ended up doing that stuff and learning how to do all that, and just kind of like survival. And I ended up getting caught, and I ended up going to jail. And like I said, I got out of signed a contract with Mike Corsillo, and same thing. Ended up being in the place, and 2 guys got shot, and I haven't been out since then. But the laws are changing, everything's looking good, and they got the 70 Bill 600 that just passed. So I'm hoping to go back to court in January of 2024. get resentenced. You know, I've been doing good. I'm on a level 2. I went from a level 4. I did 7 years on a level 4. I did 2.5 years in a level 3, and I've been here for 2 years. Total, I've been down 14.5 years. So, you know, I don't have too many write-ups, you know, so it's looking good for me to get every sentence and finally get up out of here.
Going back to the attempted murder, would you mind taking us there and explaining exactly what the heck happened, man? How the hell your whole world turned upside down and you picked up this hefty sentence? What happened, man?
Well, I don't want to speak on that because, you know, the legal stuff and me going back to court and everything that I'm putting, but it was just something that went wrong, you know, something that just wasn't supposed to happen, and it happened. And, you know, I'm not trying to minimize the crime or nothing like that, but, you know, it just happened in the blink of an eye, man, and there was nothing I could do about it. So, you know, I just had to roll with the punches and you know, stick to the code, you know, stay quiet, not talk, not testify, not do nothing. And that's what happens to a lot of people, you know. A lot of people are in here that didn't even do nothing, but they were there, you know. So we get stuck with a lot of time. Like I said, at first I had 3 life sentences, you know, and then I won an appeal, and now I have 32 years to life. So, you know,
How did you get 3 life sentences?
Too much about, because at first they had me for attempted murder, and then they had me for another attempted murder, and then they have these gun enhancements that carry life too. So, and that's how I got 3 life sentences. I got count 1 was attempted murder that carries 7 to life. Count 2 was attempted murder, carried 7 to life, and 25 to life for a gun enhancement, 12022.53D. So that's how I ended up with 3 life sentences, you know. And back in the day, the judge couldn't run them concurrent. It was all ran bow-legged. And since me and my co-defendant didn't testify, didn't get on the stand, you know, they gave us the most time that they can give us, because that's the way the system works. You don't want to talk, and we're going to give you all this time. So he ended up with 54 years to life. I ended up with 59 years to life. But we both went back. We both won. You know, I ended up with 32 years. He ended up with, I think, 43 years. So I don't know what happened with the appeal on his. He ended up getting more time than me, but at first I had more time than him. So, you know, that's how we ended up with so much time. These laws carry crazy times. I see people that do murders and they don't even get 20 years, you know, 25 years sometimes. Like, wow, no one even died in my case. And I'm not trying to minimize my crime, you know. I'm not trying to minimize it, you know. But, you know, some people get more time than others in the criminal justice system. And that's just the way it is. So just got to do the time and try to make the best time that I could out of this place, and try to learn as much as I can and stay out the way and continue to do good so I could come home, you know?
What was the reaction of your
This
peers?
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
What was the reaction of your peers, man? You know, obviously you're in a boxing community, a huge boxing world. You know, a lot of people know you, a lot of boxing stars, man. What was their reaction once they heard of what happened?
Oh, man, it was just, I'm pretty sure it was a letdown, you know, sadness, you know, because the boxing family was the best family, man. We sweated together, we cried together, we worked out together, we made weight together, you know. We have a different type of love, man. And that's why I love my boxing family. Anytime I reach out to any of them, they answer. I'm talking about the biggest names in boxing. They answer my call. They talk to me. They always ask me if I need anything. And I'm grateful for that. And I, like I said, I love my boxing family, man. It's like they're always there for me, and they can't wait for my release. They're waiting for my release. They know I'm gonna get released, but their reaction to me getting all this time was like, it's sad, man, because it's a lot of time that they had gave me at first. They don't know everything that happened now unless they read my book. But me winning the appeal. I mean, a lot of people don't win appeals. It's very hard to win the appeal. It's very hard to get time taken off your sentence once you get convicted of in a trial, like a jury trial. It's very hard, and thank God that I won basically 27 years of my life back just by winning that appeal. That took 27 years off my time, At first, my out day was 2067, Anthony. I had an out day. I have paperwork right here, man. That says
2067.
Earliest release day 2067. Man, I could not believe it. I'm like, what the hell? 2067, And by the grace of God and my mom and the prayers and everything, my mom did a lot for me. Hired lawyers, took care of me, packages, everything, So when we won that 27 years back, we felt a little bit better, okay, 27 years. That took off, that gave me 27 years is a long time. Some people don't even live to 27, That's a lot of years that they gave me back, and I was like, wow. So then they had a law called the elderly release. So I'll turn 50 years old in 7 years from now. 7.5 years from now, I'll be 50 years old. And that's when I can go to board. I can actually go to board in 2026, but the latest is 2031. 2031, but I go in 2026. But I'm trying to go to court sooner than that with Assembly Bill 600. Because Assembly Bill 600 will make SB 620 retroactive, and that's the gun enhancement. So the main time that I have on my sentence is a 25-year gun enhancement. It's a 25-year to life gun enhancement. And, it's just an enhancement. And again, I'm not trying to, make it sound like the crime ain't bad or nothing like that, but, it's an enhancement. And they gave me 25 years for an enhancement. It's not even a crime.
Jeez, that's absurd. 25 years for an enhancement?
Yeah. For an enhancement, man. It's like,
that's messed up.
I couldn't believe it. And they already got me for attempted murder, but this enhancement, okay, look, this is what I don't understand. The enhancement's a GBI, okay? So that's why you get the 25 years to life. The attempted murder is basically the same thing. So you're getting attempted murder, 7 years, and you're getting 25 years 25 years to life for gun enhancement GBI. That's like double jeopardy to me. I'm like, wow, well, this don't make sense to me. It never made sense. All the time they gave me, it never made sense. And again, I ain't trying to make it seem like my crime was, nothing or whatever. But I mean, it's just a lot of time that they gave me for an enhancement. It's like, and that's the only thing I'm trying to get taken off right now. That enhancement gets taken off as 25 years off my life sentence. So that means that'll give me a time served. Even if the judge takes off the 25-year enhancement, giving a 10-year enhancement, it's still time served. So that's what I'm aiming at, and I'm trying to get there next year. With Assembly Bill 600, this law is really, really big, and it makes laws retroactive that never went retroactive. It's just that you have to find a way. You have to find a vehicle back into court. So that's what they call it, a vehicle. So once you find the vehicle back into the court, 1172.1, 1437, Assembly Bill 200, 1172.1. So they have a lot of different petitions. So once I find my way back in the court, then I could plead the case to my judge. And my judge always tried to help me, man. My judge, he tried to help me when he sentenced me. He asked the prosecutor, can I run Mr. Martinez time concurrent? And she said no. So the power was with the district attorneys. With this new law, Assembly Bill 600, it takes the power away from the district attorneys, and gives it to the judges, which it should have been there the whole time. So these laws that change, they're giving the power back to the judge. The judge should be the one with the last say all times. But when I got sentenced, the district attorney was the one in power. It's crazy. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, the district attorney telling the judge what to do. How the hell does that even make sense, But I've seen it with my own eyes, and I went to trial. It was a experience. Just going to trial was an experience, man. Sitting there, all dressed up in your suit, and just watching the prosecutor argue her case, and then watching I had a public defender. He didn't do nothing, and watching him just let her do whatever she wanted. It's like, wow, what the hell? This guy ain't doing nothing, And I didn't think I needed a lawyer for this case. I didn't think that, I didn't think I needed a lawyer. You have two living witnesses saying they never seen me fire a gun, Anthony. You got two living witnesses, brother. Two living witnesses that got on the stand and said they never seen me fire a gun. The only person that says they seen me fire a gun was the district attorney. And that's why I tell you, I can't speak on my case because I do want to tell you, believe me, but I just can't talk about it because I never talked about it to nobody, not even to court, not to my fellow inmates. I just keep that inside, but there's something that's really wrong with my case, man. There's something really wrong with my case. And, one gun was used. They have two guns used in my case. So it's like, how did they get away with this? And they never did the ballistics. They never did the ballistics. And again, I'm not trying to undermine my case. I was there. I'm not denying that. I was there. But they had me as...
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And